all about chocolate. Introduction. Ask people about their favorite sweet thing to eat, and they'll probably say it's chocolate. People around the world love chocolate. They love it so much that every year they eat more chocolate than any other sweet. Where chocolate comes from? It may surprise you to learn that chocolate actually grows on trees. That doesn't mean you can pick a chunk of chocolate from a tree branch and eat it. In fact, the chocolate growing on trees looks, tastes, and smells nothing like chocolate you eat. The tree that gives us chocolate is cacao tree. Chocolate comes from beans that are found in large pods of the tree. Cacao trees grow near the equator where it is hot and wet. Today, most cacao trees are grown on farms called plantations. The trees have lots of small white or yellow flowers that bloom during the year. Some of the flowers change into pods, but most do not. The pods are shaped like footballs. The pods are green when they first form, but they change into a golden or reddish color as they get ripe. Preparing the bean. Taking the pods from the cacao trees is the first step in making chocolate. But it's not the pods that are important. It's the 20 to 50 beans found inside the pod, which are actually the tree seeds. It takes a lot of beans and a lot of work to make chocolate. First, the pods are gathered. Then someone using a large blade called a machete cuts the pods open. The beans are then scooped out of the open pods. The beans are not brown, as you might expect. Instead, they are cream colored and covered with a soft pulp. These beans are a long way from being the chocolate you know. The pulp-covered beans are put into piles or boxes or covered. As their beans become in contact with the air, they begin to change from a cream color to a purple color. The beans also change on the inside and in a process called fermentation. Fermentation can take more than a week, but fermented beans still do not taste or smell like chocolate. After the beans have fermented, they are dried. As they dry, the beans are turned. Once the beans are dried, they are placed in a large cloth bags and shipped to makers of chocolate. From beans to chocolate. Making chocolate from the fermented dried bean is a very long and complicated process. First, the bean needs to be cleaned, which removes any remaining pulp or pieces of the pods. Then, chocolate makers blend different varieties of beans to make sure the chocolate has just the right flavor. The cleaned and blended beans are roasted in order to bring out the chocolate flavor. This is the stage when the beans begin to smell like chocolate. As the beans are roasted, the thin shell that covers them grows brittle. The beans pass through a special machine that cracks their shells and blows away the pieces of shell with spines. After the shells are removed, only the meaty part of the bean, called the nib, remains. The nibs are ground up and crushed until they become a liquid. The liquid is poured into molds where it cools into bars of bitter, unsweetened chocolate. The bars are then pressed until the most important part of chocolate, a yellow liquid called cocoa butter, is removed. The cocoa butter drains through a screen and is collected to make the chocolate we eat. After the liquid cocoa butter is removed, the solid part of the bar is ground into a powder. Cocoa powder is sent to dairies and bakeries to flavor baked goods and dairy products. The chocolate we eat is made in the final steps, called conching. Conching takes place in a machine with big rollers. Sugar, cocoa powder, cocoa butter, and other ingredients are rolled and mixed until smooth. The smooth mixture is poured into molds and cooled. After it has cooled and solidified, the chocolate is removed from the molds and wrapped in package for shipping. History of chocolate. As near as historians can tell, people living in Mexico and Central America were using chocolate almost 2,000 years ago. These people enjoyed a drink made from chocolate. But if you were to try this drink today, you'd find that it tastes much different from the chocolate drinks you enjoy. In fact, it was a very bitter tasting drink, kind of like coffee. Christopher Columbus brought some cacao beans back from the New World to show to the king and queen of Spain. But Europeans did not know what to do with the beans, so they mostly ignored them. They were more interested in spice and other things Columbus brought back. A Spanish explorer by the name of Herman Cortes helped Europeans begin to see that there was value in cacao beans. The great Aztec ruler Montezuma has served Cortes a drink made from cacao beans. The Aztec told Cortes that it was the drink of the gods. They believed that cacao beans gave them added wisdom and strength. They placed so much value on cacao bean that they used the bean as a form of money. Cortes saw much more value in the bean as money than as a drink. He planted cacao trees so that he could use the beans not for chocolate but as money. It was his way of drawing money on trees. Cortes brought back knowledge of how to make the chocolate drink, but it still was not popular outside the New World. Not until the Spanish began mixing sugar with the drink did chocolate begin spreading in popularity. Until the 1600s and 1700s, chocolate was a luxury food for royalty and powerful church officials. But during the 1600s, people began grinding large amounts of cacao beans in mills, producing much more chocolate and lowering the cost. The invention of smooth milk chocolate also increased the treat's popularity. The first chocolate shop in London, England was opened in 1657. In the 1700s, a steam-driving chocolate grinder was invented, allowing factories to quickly make tons of affordable chocolate. Today, chocolate is a favorite and affordable treat in many countries. History of chocolates. The first chocolate today. Most of the chocolate made in factories today is used to make chocolate candy. Other chocolate goes into ice cream, chocolate drinks, and baked goods such as cake and donuts. Even a sauce called mole, used in Mexican cooking, is made from chocolate. Did you know? Recent medical studies show that there are definite medical benefits in eating chocolate. Their benefits are linked to dark chocolate rather than milk chocolate. Some of the medical benefits include a reduction in heart disease and blood pressure. Each year, people around the world consume or eat tons of chocolate. The people of Switzerland consume more chocolate per person than anyone else in the world. They are joined in their love of chocolate by people in many other European countries. The table below shows chocolate consumption in the top 10 chocolate consuming countries. Yummy chocolate brownies. Make sure you have an adult to help you with any cutting or handling of hot food. Conclusion. It took a long time for chocolate to become popular outside the regions of Central and South America where cacao trees come from. Over years, people added things such as sugar and milk to the long and complicated process of making chocolate from cacao beans. Today, people around the world eat millions of kilograms of chocolate, making it the world's most popular sweet.